Fox 32 Chicago Sports. This is Chicago Sports Tonight.
Hell yeah! How similar was that to the first game we played against those guys? Okay? Where you get the lead and then it gets a little bit sideways in there, and we learned from that, and it took all three phases there at the end, all three phases at the end for us to win. This, man, we don't get that field goal if not for Duvernay! Talk about clutch when we needed it most, man. Let me get a little Cairo action.
Oh, I don't know about you, but when I woke up this morning, the sun was shining and the Bears were in sole possession of first place in the NFC North. Now that is a victory Monday to celebrate. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Chicago Sports Tonight. Luke and Ellis with you. Jam-packed show tonight. Fox Sports 1's Danny Parkins and former Bear Pat Mannelly, who also works at The Score, both join us. Bears didn't practice today. Ben Johnson jumped on Zoom with the media today. Johnson was asked about Williams with the Vikings blitzing all game yesterday.
Have you ever been blitzed on 2/3 of your passes before?
That's a good question, and I don't know. I don't know that. You know, that was the interesting thing was not just the percentage, because it was completely different than week one, you know, kind of like we alluded about, but also the type of pressures that he was bringing was a lot of corner cat, which he hadn't shown a ton of. So, you know, I thought we recognized it fairly early, and we did the best we could as a staff and as players to make our adjustments. He kept the ball out of harm's way. He did a great job protecting that football. I can't say enough good things about their defense in terms of how they create turnovers. Caleb, in particular, did a good job throwing the ball away when things weren't present, and so that was good to see. I thought he played a pretty solid football game.
When are we allowed to think playoffs, and when are you guys allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, we're way far away from that. I haven't even been thinking about that. We're still in the third quarter of the season. That's really what we're focused on. We set goals once we hit the halfway mark, and once we make it through the three-quarter mark, then we'll start shifting our focus. But we're in a good spot right now for where we want to be this quarter of the season, and we got a tough opponent coming in town here on Sunday.
All right, let's talk about Sunday. Aaron Rodgers has a slight break in the left wrist, wants to play against the Bears, does not want to miss the game. And if you missed last night's CST Roundtable with Tina Wynn and the Score's Matt Spiegel and Gabe Ramirez, well, here's a recap.
Entertaining.
You guys tell me, are they lucky or are they good, Tina?
I'm going to go with lucky because I still think there's certainly areas that you got to tighten up. I would love to see this team play with a lead and actually protect it, but I will say a win is a win. This team is showing you that they are capable of winning these close games, right? We said it from time to time again. Last year they would have lost these kinds of games, but when Caleb Williams has the ball in his hand, there's a chance that they're going to win this game.
Can I say there's a little luck? And they're pretty good, too.
Yeah, you can say both. I mean, at 7-3, it's not smoke and mirrors. 7-3 is real in the NFL. A lot of these games come down to the last possession. That's just kind of how the league goes. They can run the ball. They are the second best running offense in the NFL. That is crazy considering the way that it began. And on defense, they can get turnovers. They have the most takeaways in the NFL, the most interceptions. Those things are good. It's just not quite what we expected with the young quarterback.
Hey, Spiggs, look what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my money socks. They are money. Yes, they are.
With 56 seconds left, a timeout in the bag, no one thought the Bears were going to lose that game. I think we've all seen time and time again, right? It's like Jordan in the 90s, not comparing him to Jordan, but you had that feeling growing up where when you watch games, despite losing, you felt like they'd come back. And Caleb Williams, whether it was last week with 1:04 and 2 timeouts left, or this week with 56 seconds left, you knew despite whether or not Devin Duvernay did that or not, you felt confident that Caleb was going to be able to pull that off.
And just like the first game, the Bears could have put this thing away multiple times. I kept thinking, here's the possession where it happens. Here's the possession where it happens. And they never did it. And McCarthy, going into that final drive, his quarterback rating was 14.9. 14.9. And then he had a great drive and led the touchdown. I'm like, oh, my God, here we go again. huge special teams play. This team finds a different way every single week.
Speaks, building off on what you were saying, you got guys making big plays, a lot of different guys too. I talked to someone in the locker room on Friday and I asked him, hey, what's been the biggest difference from last year? He said last year, it was almost as if we were kind of afraid to be that guy to make the big play because we didn't want to be the one to mess it up. Now Ben Johnson has instilled a lot of confidence and belief in this team that, hey, any one of us can go out there and make a big play when we need to.
The coach is a superstar, okay? The coach has an unbelievable feel for play calling, and he knows that the best friend a young quarterback could ever have is a running game. The Bills have the best running team in the NFL. The Colts are third. The Bears are second. They're up there. They're above the Eagles. They're above the Ravens. They're above the Commanders. They're the second best running team in the NFL, and they were relentless today in going back to it. That 15-play, 78-yard drive that ends with the Mannelly touchdown. Had a beautiful run call on 3rd and 4 inside the 10. And look what he's done to the culture. The entire culture of that place has flipped. Your coach is a superstar. Whether the quarterback ends up being so or not, the coach is.
Winning is contagious. And I think Jalen Johnson is the greatest example of this. Here's a guy who's coming back now, who's so anxious to be with his team. He flew to Minnesota, and when he walked on the field today, I was told he was hugging all the media people, literally with a little pep in his step, okay? He was excited to be there. He wants to be in that locker room when they pull off wins like this.
Listen, there's only one thing better than modern medicine, and that's winning. That can get you back on the field much quicker. I think, listen, you're talking about a guy in Jalen Johnson who has dealt with this Bears team and their flaws over the last several seasons. So to see some success come out of this team, especially with Dennis Allen, a storied defensive coordinator that you want to play for, and he understands how depleted this defensive back is for the Chicago Bears team, giving up a ton of big plays, and I'm sure he's saying to himself, if I were on this field alongside, obviously Tyreek got hurt, but alongside Tyreek Stevenson, alongside Nashawn Wright, I could make a big difference and put us in those positions like you were mentioning, Speaks and Tina, right, getting out to big leads, stopping teams, getting the ball back quicker, and especially with Kevin Byard pulling out all these turnovers, he wants to be a part of that as well.
There are hawks back there. Wait till they get Jalen Johnson and
Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, Kyler Gordon back. Thank you.
22 takeaways now by this Bears defense, and I think you have to give a lot of credit, right, to Dennis Allen, right, having to rotate guys in and out, setting a lot of different packages and coverages, but the mindset he has instilled on this Bears defense is, right, take the ball away.
Yeah, good stuff last night. One quick note, kicker Jake Moody, who beat the Commanders with a walk-off field goal week 6, today signed with Washington off the Bears practice squad. Coming up, Fox Sports 1's Danny Parkins here on CST. 9 NFC teams above 500 right now. Bears, one of those 9 at the top of the NFC North. One game behind the Eagles and Rams, who are 8-2 in the conference. Welcome back here to CST. Lou Cadellis with you. All right, let's bring in Danny Parkins from First Things First on Fox Sports 1. Danny, are your buddies Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Kevin Wildes, are they buying into the Bears just yet?
I'm not sure. No is the short answer, I think, on some of them. But who cares? Who cares? This is becoming a little stupid. Like, this is becoming a little silly. Like, J.J. McCarthy was so bad, and now the Bears might get Mason Rudolph. I'm sure we'll get into it. But just sometimes these things happen. Sometimes you just get a charmed season. The Bears are the number 2 team in the NFL this year in one-score games, right behind the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Like, I don't think this team is great, but this team is in first place in 7-3. So who cares who believes? Who cares if it's pretty? They're 7-3, and it's really fun.
5 fourth-quarter comebacks for a Bears team that's won 7 of 8 games. Do you think internally the coaches, man, are thinking, oh, we're lucky. The comebacks at some point are going to stop?
Yes, I do. I think that Ben Johnson, from all that we do know about him, and I think he even lets us in a little bit in the press conferences, when he talks about, like, it wasn't pretty, but you don't have to apologize for wins in this league, that sort of thing. Like, we're going to coach hard off this tape. Like, it's like one of the oldest cliches in NFL coaching, right? Like, you can coach harder off an ugly win because it's like, okay, you won, you get to celebrate it, but look, this could have cost us, that could have cost us, this could have cost us. So, like, I think they know that they are not as good as their record indicates, but that's okay. Like, that would not be okay in year 3 or 4 of Caleb Williams, in years 3 or 4 of Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
but in year
point.
2 of Caleb, year 1 of Ben Johnson, I think it's okay right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. You tweeted, and Danny's a great follow during the game, Bears fans, if you want to follow Danny Parkins. You tweeted after the game, I really can't believe Ben Johnson was comfortable with Cairo from that game-winning distance. And I didn't understand that at all, but it worked. All right, I want you to take me back to the Bears' final series after the Duvernay kick return. What do you think Ben Johnson should have done? Because I'm here to tell you that I agreed with the tweet, but first tell me what you thought Ben should have done.
So, I mean, there's a lot of factors there, and obviously Ben Johnson is considering more factors than you and I are privy to. But the Cairo Santos miss from closer, the last kick that we had seen him take, is in my head, right? Like, the misses that he had against Cincinnati is in my head. The misses he had against Minnesota, the first game of the year, are in my head. Like, Cairo, I know the numbers say he's one of the most reliable kickers in Bears history, but it doesn't, I don't have that feeling with him. And Caleb has been so clutch that I did not like just conservative runs and saying, okay, we're in field goal range of a 50-yard field goal or a 48-yard field goal. Let's just run it into the line of scrimmage. Like, I was more interested in like some degree of aggression, putting it in your quarterback's right shoulder, putting it with his mobility and saying like, hey, throw it away for an incompletion if there's nothing there. Scramble if you need to, but if there's an easy layup completion, try to get 8, 10, 12 more yards. Obviously, the swift run ended up helping things, but you don't know that when you call the play. I just thought it was a little too conservative for my liking. And then, having said that, it wasn't a dome, and Cairo did have plenty of leg to make it. So it wasn't at Soldier Field, so the dome obviously factored into the equation, but just gut check from how I felt about sending Cairo out there and getting conservative in that moment. I would have rather trusted Caleb to gain for one more significant gain play before just kind of going into the conservative offense for the kick.
I was alarmed with this. Bears averaged 4.4 yards a play in that football game. Not very good. Here's the reality. Caleb doesn't play on time. For the most part, he's out there playing street ball. Off-schedule ball. I know he's winning games, and we're all obviously ecstatic about that. But is it sustainable? Is the way he is playing sustainable for this team to continue to win games? And is this what Ben Johnson wants from his quarterback?
Well, no. I think Ben Johnson wants him to have the ability to do this. I mean, he joked about it last week, right? He's like, sometimes he makes me feel like I'm the greatest coach in the world because of his Houdini act and his escape act. And so there's a cool chart that's going around where it shows every quarterback's average time to throw and their knockdown rate, how often they get hit and they get knocked down. And Caleb is in the extreme top left corner of average time to throw, meaning he's holding it longer than anybody, but he's at the extreme left side of the equation in terms of getting knocked down the least. You would think the longer you hold it, the more you're going to get knocked down.
For sure.
He's an outlier in both directions right now. He's got eyes in the back of his head, man. He's always going to hold the ball longer than most. I thought he was always going to be sacked more than most because he's such a big game hunter. And so is this sustainable? Those extremes are probably not, but I do think that Caleb is going to have that be a part of his game for forever. And it's going to lead to a couple of, what are you doing moments, but it's also going to lead to a lot of, no, yes, I can't believe it. He's got that range to him, which is going to make him one of the more exciting players in the league.
Where are the Bears on the Parkins playoff meter today?
Yeah, I think they're going to make it now. I think this is the first time I'd say it's better than 50-50. I'd say 60-40 yes, 65-35 yes, somewhere in there. The difference between 2011 is that 7 teams make it. And
Great point.
It's easier to make it now, and so if you get to 10, you're probably in. And you hired a coach from the NFC North. We've talked about this before. Bears The Bears could have beaten Green Bay both times last year. They ended up getting them the once. They could have won that game against the Lions on Thanksgiving. They could have beaten the Vikings last year in that overtime game. So they still have the Packers twice. They still have the Lions once. They've got the Niners. They've got teams that are in that playoff mix. But, yeah, I think as we sit here today, the Bears are going to be in the playoffs.
All right, Danny, as always, thanks for jumping on. We'll talk to you again next week. It's time for a break. When we come back, former Bears long snapper Pat Mannelly from The Score checks in. Perfect day to have Pat on, coming off the Bears' game-winning field goal. You're watching CST here on Fox. All right, Josh Blackwell blocks a field goal in Las Vegas. Jake Moody nails a 38-yard field goal in Washington. Colston Loveland, 58-yard catch and dash in Cincinnati. Caleb runs one in against the Giants. And now Cairo Santos for the win. How many more of these heart-pounding white knucklers can us fans handle, right? I'm excited to bring in our next guest. We worked together a couple of times, watch parties. Bears fans watch this guy for 16 seasons, the always dependable long snapper, captain, great teammate. Pat Mannelly joins us. How are you, Pat?
I'm good, Lou. I think the city's doing great, too. I know it's been a little, we're checking our blood pressure with these wins, but hey, man, we're 7-3.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
No, you can't. No, you can't. It feels good, doesn't it?
Really appreciate the time. I listened to you on The Score along with Mully and Olin. You guys do a terrific job on the pre- and post-game shows. Pat, you played 16 years in the NFL, all for the Bears. Were you ever part of a team that had 5 finishes in its first 10 games, quite like the Bears have had?
Not that I can remember. You know, I just go back, I think everybody remembers back to the 2001 year where we had the back-to-back wins with the Mike Brown walk-offs. But the way they're winning right now, it's unbelievable. It's that belief. They keep talking about that belief. And I think this young team, the way they're winning right now, it will carry them in the future. I don't think they're ready for Super Bowl aspirations or anything like that. But there's a young core, and you win like this, you get belief, and you get into situations like this in the future. It's really going to help them out.
Why did we need another white knuckler? How is it that the Bears still were able to pull that game out?
Well, I mean, you talk about special teams, man. They did it at the end. They pulled it out at the end. But earlier they gave up a 43-yard punt return that set them up for a score. Cairo Santos missed a 45-yard field goal that would have put them up 19-10. It kind of would have put them out of, to put the game away. That's why I think it got the way it did. But, credit to the special teams to come through at the end with that big kick return and the field goal.
All right, you touched on the 2001 Bears. You also played on that 2004 team, 2005 team that went to the Super Bowl, 2010 Bears that were the last team to win a playoff game. I want you to take us back. Were those resilient teams? Did you and your teammates at that time feel like, yeah, even if we're done, we know that we're going to still win this game, even if we're behind? I mean, is that the kind of attitude that you feel like this team has as well? And is it legit? I mean, you were in the locker room, so you can tell us if this is just media created or if this is real.
No, it is real. And what you do is you believe in your playmakers. You believe in your first rounders. You believe in your studs. And that's what it was on the side. I was on the sideline a lot being a long snapper, but you would look at Brian Urlacher, Charles Tillman, Lance Briggs. Who's going to make the play? Who's going to cause the turnover? Who's going to win the game for us? And that's the belief that comes in these teams. And that's what's happening right now. Guys are believing in Caleb. I think with 50 seconds to go when they got the ball back, even before the return, I think even the sideline, I know Olin was, we talked about it in the postgame show, that we have belief in this team. And that goes a long way, like I said earlier, with that team. But you just believe in your playmakers that they're going to make plays when it's time to step up.
Cairo comes through yesterday. Long snapper, you were that guy with a game on the line. Man, how nerve-wracking is it at the end of a game when you know this is for the win or you're going to lose?
Lou, honestly, it's a lot of fun. That's what you practice for. It really is. You have to embrace the moment. I think any athlete in a situation like that will say that you just embrace those great moments. And my job as a long snapper was to make Robbie Gould look great, Brad Maynard look great. And Scott Daly had a great snap there for Cairo, and Cairo did his job. And that's just what you want to do as a long snapper. You look forward to those moments, and you turn around. You hopefully they're hoisting the kicker up in the air, and that means you did a good job.
And that's what they did. Santos with the walk-off, but Devin Duvernay, man, he put the Bears in position for that game winner. You've been on plenty of kickoff returns, hundreds of them. What happened on that kickoff return?
Yeah, I got to give credit to Coach Hightower. He did a great job with that. Earlier in the game, the one Josh Blackwell almost broke. It was a counter where Josh got the return and broke to the left. It looked like to me that Minnesota kept just over pursuing kicks. So he was running these counters. And I think he saw that and said, listen, let's go to our best kick return. He did. They kicked the ball to Devin Duvernay. So it looked like a check with me, like you hear about quarterbacks checking at the line.
Yeah.
So it's a check with me where the kick goes. So if it's going to the left, the kick returns left, they're going to run counter to the right. And they blocked it up great. Devin Duvernay hit it perfect. And Coach Hightower made a great call. So it was all that worked into one, and it worked out and set up a game-winning field goal.
Kevin Byard said this team still hasn't developed that killer instinct yet. Can they keep winning if they just don't have it?
It's hard to sustain. We've been saying this for weeks, right, Lou? You just don't see it, but they're doing it. I think there is room for improvement. So I don't think they can continue winning like this, but I love what Ben Johnson is preaching, that their best ball is going to be in December. And there is room for improvement. So you stack these wins now, and if their best ball is in December, we'll see what happens. Maybe we're not just talking about getting into the playoffs. Maybe we're talking about what seed they are in the playoffs. I'm talking higher seed, so we'll see what happens. But I don't know if they can sustain this, but they keep pulling it out for us.
Hey, I was here on Fox earlier this morning saying that I thought the MVP of this team through 10 games really are the guys up front, that offensive line. Those 5 big hogs, man, they are protecting Caleb, dropping his sack numbers from last year over 100%. Guys are opening up holes for a running game that is amongst the best in the league right now. What about you? Who would be your MVP through 10 games?
Yeah, I would say that. I got lucky during my career being a long snapper to go to O-line meetings. So I feel like I'm an O-lineman. I was one in college, and I love watching the tape. I watch it from inside out. Jonah Jackson and Darnell Wright might be the best double team in the NFL. Whoever that 3 technique is each week going against them looks at that tape and says, oh, blank. I've got a long day in front of me. And this O-line is playing great. They've done a nice job with Caleb protection-wise. And, yes, Caleb has been Houdini. But, it's a combination of him being Houdini and the protection up front of why the sacks are down. But the run game, Ben Johnson's committed to it. But you go back and watch the Minnesota Week 1 to yesterday's game and how this O-line has improved and what they have done to improve, it's pretty good, and I do think they are the MVP.
For all the torture Aaron Rodgers put you through on the field and me through as a fan and now media guy, I hope he's playing on Sunday. It appears as though may not happen with the wrist injury. If it's Mason Rudolph or whoever at quarterback, Bears just need to win another game, right?
A win is a win, man. I'll tell you what, when we were in the locker room, you would always still study. This time of the year, you would study the injury report because you knew if the big names were going to be out. And you said, oh, well, that's just what it is. But as a fan, I want to watch Aaron Rodgers play and lose in Soldier Field. But if you get to the 8th win without him, and that makes it a lot easier, I'm okay with that as well.
I'm going to wrap up with this. I've created something called the playoff meter here on Chicago Sports Tonight. We're through 10 games now for the Bears. Where are the Bears on the Mannelly playoff meter right now?
How do you mean? What are you talking about? Are they in? Are they out?
50% chance, 60% chance.
Oh no, I've got them 65%.
Nice. That's where Parkins had him.
Yeah, 65% maybe because that was my number, but yeah, I'll go with that.
I like it, 65%.
I do.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for the time. I know you're a busy man. Great work on the score. We will keep listening to you and Olin and Mully all season long. Thanks, buddy. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Coming up Tuesday, must-see TV, First and North. Hey, what happened to the Lions? Is Dan Campbell the right guy to handle the play calling in Detroit? Do the Packers feel like they stole one against the Giants? And do Vikings fans think that their team can go on a run and get to the playoffs with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback? Tomorrow night, First and North, streaming on Fox Local at 6, Fox 32 at 9:30. For Pat Mannelly and Danny Parkins, I'm Lou Canellis. Thanks for watching. See ya.